Rolling with a little bit of a squirrely moment there on the bottom as he was snapped tight on the exit of the corner. Christian Challenger trying to stay off the back of Andretti. They're going to go 3-1 as they come down the front stretch with Travis Worley on the bottom. There's contact. They still keep going.
Whirling all the way to the bottom, but he doesn't have the speed. He's pinched too far to the inside. Challenger on the high side. He's going to be able to get to those ahead. We are going green to the finish. Abramitis has the inside, but can he get it off the corner? He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. It's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it? Abramitis takes the win by 7 thousandths of a second. The top 5 were only 700ths between each other. Unbelievable finish.
Pulling up ahead, but it's going to be 3 wide as they head down to turn 1. Look at that. That's Ian Haycock's making the move for the lead on the inside. They're almost 4 wide behind him. That's Reed Miller who gets into the back of everybody. He cleans out Yuko Leskala.
Unbelievable. Haycock's with a move that saved his bacon. He gets a great run, covering down to the inside, almost all the way to the grass. He'll force Holly to go the long way around as they approach Rent. Kings is still potentially in this. No, he's starting to drop back as he tied on fuel here. As Holly tries to go around, he might have the speed to do it if he can just challenge him down to the line. He is a little bit wide. Now Kings is coming back. They are running out of fuel. It's going to be Kings who goes from third to first at the final run. Oh, this is a bad place to catch him. He's going to be able to get through one. That's some distance. That is the buffer that he needs. I think that's going to do it for Guven. All he needs to be is fast off the final corner. He spins it. The final corner. Vico's going to win off the final turn and beat Guven, who led this entire race.
Series such as NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the SCCA, and more have raced around this 2.53-mile racetrack now known as Sonoma. Since its opening in 1968, thousands of drivers have turned laps, gone up and down the hills, and hope to chase down victory in the vineyards of California. Today, the drivers of the Lotus 79 series will do just the same with hopes of being able to say they have mastered this road course. Hello everyone, I'm Derek Watson. Along with me in the booth today is Ryan Walker. Behind the scenes is our director Zach Johnson, using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. As the drivers get warmed up on the track, let's help you learn about the twists and turns of Sonoma with this GSRC track guide of Sonoma.
Welcome to Sonoma Raceway. One of California's most famous road courses, it resides just north of San Francisco. It's been host to a wide variety of styles of racing, including sports cars, Indy cars, motorcycles, and even drag racing. But in recent decades, it's become most well known for holding one of NASCAR's rare road course weekends. For most tracks, this cornucopia would be a stretch, but considering the array of 5 different layouts to choose from, it's quite easy for the circuit to be adapted to any series needs. Most of the layouts clock in at around 2 to 2.5 miles in length and always feature an impressive amount of elevation change. This means many of the corners present the driver with a blind entry or apex. Some of these have a very distinct visual look, making them instantly recognizable. Corners such as the chute and the final hairpin feature street course-like walls surrounding the track, while the carousel is both picturesque and challenging. With few long straights, passing is often considered very difficult, but it rarely leaves races with a lack of action. Mistakes can be easy to make, offering opportunities for the brave. And it's not just the track itself which is tough. The pit entry's narrow path requires precise driving for those looking to make up time and leapfrog their competitors during stops. With more than 40 years of racing under its belt, Sonoma has become a staple for West Coast race fans. And what could be better than a glass of vino on a sunny hillside while the sound of engines echo around you?
All right, and that is our GSRC track guide for Sonoma. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the track details, and let's go ahead and bring in my broadcast partner, Ryan Walker. Ryan, welcome in. So as we look at the track details here, tell us what to expect from today's race.
Yeah, things to expect from this race today is there's not going to be a lack of, or there's not going to be many passing opportunities around this 2.53 mile track. The only passing opportunity you've got is heading down to that turn 11 hairpin if you can get a good run on the exit of turn 10. But apart from that, you've only got another opportunity heading into turn 1 and turn 2. If you get a good run or you're alongside someone, you can make a possible move there. But I think the name of the game is going to be patience, timing your moves, and pouncing on the opportunity to make a move if someone in front of you makes a mistake. But it's a race I'm looking forward to, and today we will be using the Cup layout, what's is used for IndyCar in real life.
There you go. All right, well, as we see there's the track layout, we're going to go 33 laps around this track today, so lots of opportunity for guys to try to find those passing spots. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the points and the point standings as they sit right now in this series. So first is Michael DeTurk at 141 points. Then you're going to see the drivers behind him here. Close battle for second. You see Jukka Tolinen, 6 points back. Gernot Frisch, 17 points back. Paul Kalevi-Partanen, 29 points back. And then Timothy Reed, 59 points back in 5th place. Ryan, go and walk us through the team points.
Absolutely. So at the moment in the team points, it's Martini Racing Team Lotus currently leading with 90 points, but only 2 points further back in second place is Alizia Gaitens with Fritza and Azevedo, with third place being occupied by the equipped Renault Elf team of De Turk and Saros. And then in fourth, we've got the Marlborough team, McLaren team of Partanen and Lopez. And then rounding out the top 5 in that championship is the Candy team Tyrrell, with the drivers of Reed and Takaberry.
All right, awesome. Close point battles there. Let's go and take a look at our race details for today's race. So this is round 4 of 12. This is a 33-lap race. As you said, of course, these drivers get to use open setups. There's no spare car today, so if you wreck up and down one of these hills, your day will be over. There's a drive-through penalty at 17 incident points and a disqualification at 25. All right, well, at that point, now that we've done our race details, let's go and remind you that today's race is sponsored by the Majors Garage. Please go ahead and make sure to check out the Majors Garage, home of free Baseline Plus setups. Get help from any of the garage coaches 24/7. Sign up for awesome, affordable monthly subscriptions, telemetry, coaching, and more by simply clicking on the link in the description below. Also, if you use our special discount code MAJORSGSRC, you will get 10% off. All right, well, with that said, let's go and talk about a couple stories of the race, Ryan. So where do you want to start here with one of your stories for things to look at?
So yeah, I was just looking at this track earlier this afternoon and just doing some laps offline, and I find it's a fun car. It's a fun track with this car, I should say, but it's so easy to make a mistake, especially heading through this corner here that we're looking at. Just because it invites you to carry so much speed, but I think, like I said, drivers are going to have to be very careful, and especially through that tight, twisty section and in the last sector. Otherwise, if you try and take it too wide or try and force a move, it can go horribly wrong. But I think just looking at the usual names at the moment, don't be surprised to see the likes of Tolinen, Reed, Fernandez, or De Turk, or just a few of those names, for example. And also this guy here from Germany, Gernot Fritza. Don't be surprised to see him up at the front, and I think it's going to be a close battle.
Awesome. A couple things that I want to talk about for this race. This is, as I said, round 4. We do have 3 different winners. We do not have a repeat winner yet this season, so we'll see if that trend continues today. Now, one thing I want to talk about with the track, though, is we're going to watch the onboard here and watch here as qualifying continues, is the elevation changes. Watch as this track, the uphill and the downhill. So your typical road course has some elevation changes, but this has a lot of it, Ryan. And it means it's going to have a lot of blind corners for a driver to come in. Look here, as you're going to see, you can't see around that corner as we're watching the onboard here. So talk about the elevation changes, Ryan. What does that do to a driver? How much more cautious do you have to be? How does that feel?
Yeah, the elevation changes, in a way, I think with this car especially, it might help with the car, maybe getting it rotated, maybe making it helping with it turning. But like you say, there's a lot of blind corners here, especially this section here. You're just coming up over the crest, and it's kind of blind in a way. So spotting when to turn can be difficult. And this section here that we're coming up to, this hairpin, and especially the last corner, is it invites you to brake as late as possible. But if you brake too late, you can run wide or even end up locking up and spinning. So, and don't be surprised if you see some drivers trying to make a move there as well, if they get alongside or get a run.
So as you see here, we just passed the start line, and he is happy with that run, or done at least. So we'll move on here and keep watching qualify. About a minute 33 left. I'm going to assume at this point, if you're not into your lap yet, you're not going to finish it. This is Shirley here, Teo Shirley here, going to come down here through turn 11. Of course, in the storied history of this track, turn 11 has had multiple uses over time. Ryan, at one point there was even a mini pit road down there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a point I was meaning to bring up as well. There used to be a mini pit road there, and it still gets used from time to time in real life, I believe, but not as much as it has done in the past. But as we come to the end of qualifying, and it looks like we're about to head to the grid.
All right, well, qualifying is over. So let's go ahead here and take a look at our grid. Go ahead and walk through it with you here. All right, just starting on in row number 1, you're going to have Partnen and Tolinen first and second. Then you have Gernot Frisch and Timothy Reed in row 2. Sergio Fernandez and Michael de Turk in row 3. Paul J. Williams and Theo Shirley in row 4. And then Shane Selwertz and Ove Fingered in row number 5.
Yep, it's starting it up. Yep, absolutely. As Gwendell and Old starts in 11th alongside him is Pep Mayer in 12th, and then Timothy Vaughan in 13th with Xavier Sanchez 14th, Barry West, a name that we're very familiar with in this series, in 15th, and Luca Bracali in 16th, Pekka Kelahara in 17th, Keith Hernett in 18th, 19th is Pat Labrosse, and rounded out the 20. Actually, Mike Labrosse rounded out the 20, and I forgot to say 19th was Mike Rasmus.
All right, and then your last 3, Joe Walker 21st, Timothy Talos in 22nd, and then Yerman Suarez in 23rd, back in row 12. All right, well, that is your race grid. As we see, we're about to pull off here and do the full pace lap around Sonoma. So get a little bit more time here before we do go green. All right, well, as you said, timing these moves are going to be important here, Ryan. So this first lap, of course, always feels super important in road course racing, as we're about to go green here. And green. Standing start, and here we go. Leader's off, looks clean back so far. Your leader has pulled out here. So far has a successful clean run up here through turns 1 and 2.
Yep, absolutely. As they come through now, and we've got some battle going on side by side already, and it looks like, there might have been a bit of contact there ever so slightly, but luckily they both managed to survive. But at the moment, someone's making a move behind them as well, so some drivers not wanting to be patient on the first lap. Some drivers are wanting to make moves already.
Yeah, they're going to make moves already because they're going to feel the need to get up here up in front. We're watching this battle here. See plenty of cars still together. So they're going to come down to the hills here. See here, what you talked about in the pre-race is very valid and very car very wide there. Back on track now. You see there's timing and moves is important. No one's really I'll be curious to see him when the first lap finishes, but no one's really made any timed moves yet for the most part. The lineup as you see Partnen still leading the field here. And we're getting ready to come down here. All right, well, first lap is done just like that. It's 33 laps, but they don't take long. Hartman will lead Tolonen and the rest of the field here after lap number 1.
Yep, as they come up through turn 1 and turn 2, and they over the hill now, and Hartman is still leading at the moment, and Tolonen still hanging in there in the background, but I think at the moment as Parton gets a little bit sideways there, but manages to hold it, and yeah, it seems to be everyone's managed to keep it clean so far in the first couple of laps, and at the moment it's still Parton leading, but Tolonen in second and Reed in third, and yeah, Gernot Fritz in fourth as well. So at the moment, the usual suspects you see up at the front are managing or holding those positions, but at the further back in fifth or sixth, I should say, is Slurry as well.
Yeah, not a whole lot of movement as we talked about in this, excuse me, in the gridding to the first lap. You'll see the first and second are still first and second, and then third and fourth have swapped positions. So, there will be passing here, but nothing, it'll take time. Nothing's going to be quick here as we're going to see a pass. Maybe, set up that cone went flying there.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. I forgot to say, this driver's making moves already as Parton puts in the fastest lap of the race so far, and there's a few cars off it in the wall at the hairpin.
That's the hairpin. That's turn 11. That's a dangerous spot. We've seen wrecks there many times across racing, and we see a bent wing going by the camera there. I'm waiting to see who that was. If we can find it on this GSRC replay in a second, but that is a dangerous turn for all racing, no matter the series. Let's watch it here. Go and walk us through it, Ryan.
Yeah, so we're just about to take a look at the replay, and it looks like someone was trying to make a move, and he ended up just basically torpedoing two cars out of the way, and it was like I was talking about, you can try and make a move into that last corner, but if you just go in too hot, it can end up in disaster, and unfortunately that 15 car unfortunately found that out.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I mean, that's the kind of move that really just seems dangerous, because it's like you almost wonder if someone has missed their braking points, because a little wide there as well. It didn't look like he really had that an opportunity to stick that move. So I'm thinking maybe he just missed his braking point. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an easy corner to just carry too much speed in or miss your braking point. And of course it wasn't intentional, but it's an easy mistake to make, especially if I've had experience of just going in too hot there and making a mistake and clipping some cars. But apart from that, it looks like they managed to keep going, but with some minor body damage by the looks of it.
Yeah, so watch through the cars going around the track, you'll see a few bent wings, unfortunately, already. And we'll keep an eye on that. That's going to really hurt a driver. Just talk us through, Ryan. Like, if we can get Zach to give maybe a front view of German Suarez towards the back of the field, you see a bent wing here. Talk us through what that means. What does that do to the car? What does it do to the driver? How does that really affect you?
I think, just looking at some of the front wing damage, sometimes you don't always get it from like contact with other cars. Sometimes maybe the car being too low to the ground and maybe just hitting the ground ever so slightly, you can get some slight wing damage or even just striking a curb. But I think depending on how bad it is, or if it's not as bad, it doesn't seem to hinder the car too much. But if it's major damage, like really bad front wing damage, for example, then it can affect the handling, and especially around the track such as Sonoma on this layout, it's not something that you want at this early stage of the race.
No, not something you want to see at all. It can really, mess with the cars. The thing I talk about as well in some of our GSRC broadcasts called the mental car damage. So you're going to pass your setup, and it's going to get to the inside, and no, not going to complete it, but that's the way you want to do it, right, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. Ideally, you want to be close to the car in front of you, and if you see a gap, or if you're kind of onside, you want to try and brake as late as possible without overshooting the corner. But yeah, that last corner is one of those corners that you can take a late turn in and square the corner off to try and get a good run in the exit. But as you look at the battle for P6 at the moment as well, Slurry and still in P6 at the moment, doing a good job. And there's a move going on. The 11 car of Williams makes a move and spins out, gets too hot into the corner.
Wow, what a moment that was for Theo here. He must have really just not seen that coming because it was behind him, and it just, once again, an aggressive move, possibly a missed braking point, but Shirley barely got away with that there without getting a lot of damage. That could have been a really horrible wreck there in that corner here at Sonoma.
Yeah, it could have, and luckily Slurry was very aware and heads up and saw the move coming and just left just enough space, and whoa, that was... I have to say credit for giving it a go, but yeah, he just missed his braking point and carried too much speed and basically ended up spinning out, but managing to keep going without any damage.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's a heads-up move by Teo if he really did see that coming, because that's something a lot of drivers wouldn't have seen, and we would have seen 2 cars spun out there. Right, see him come down the hill here. Let's look at all the elevation change. Like a lot of road courses, a lot of drivers love. It's so much, in my opinion, easier without all the elevation changes. There's a few other tracks that have it. This isn't the only one, of course, but this is the one that comes to mind for me when you talk about obvious elevation changes at a road course, because it's not a long course where it kind of gradually changes. This one seems to happen fast on you.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks that on this layout as well. It seems some people seem to like this layout, some other people don't. It seems to be one of those tracks that's hit and miss with people. But I've always enjoyed racing around this track, especially this layout. But in a race such as this with these cars, racing around here can just feel like an eternity sometimes, just because of the length of the track and the layout. But at the moment, this race is providing excitement. Maybe not up at the front at the moment with the leader Patterson pulling away with a 3.1 second gap, but and further back in the pack, we've still got exciting stuff going on, and maybe some hot moments going on with some drivers making mistakes.
Yeah, and something we want to talk about too, we had a chance to talk to a couple of the drivers before the race, and we kind of heard about just how slick this track is and how twisty it is. These drivers are not full throttle most of the time. That's something I think we kind of miss when you're just watching the race from these camera views, as we're going to ride on the onboard here. These drivers are only about 65% throttle for most of this track. Now, of course, there's the spots like here where they're going to be more in the throttle, but that's what happens is you're trying to push every ounce of that throttle, and sometimes you just push it too far, and that's what causes these missing in these braking points that we're seeing.
Yeah, and also another thing as well that one of the drivers told us is the sun at this track can be really bad as well, especially for users that are using maybe the HDR setting on in their graphics settings, especially some of the corners when you've got bad sun. It can affect maybe catch you off guard and maybe affect your turning points, for example. So it's something for these drivers to keep an eye on. Maybe if some of these drivers are using HDR, especially on a VR headset.
Yeah, definitely a thing. At some point here, I'm hoping maybe in a couple laps or so, or maybe anytime soon, we can do a ride along from the start finish line up the hill and just kind of let you guys see from the broadcast like what the elevation looks like, what that sun glare looks like. So we'll see if we can get one of those in before the race is over here. We got a tight battle here. This is going to be, I think, for 11th, 12th, and 13th here. So we're going to see this battle coming up here. This is probably the closest battle you're going to see on track at this point right now. So this would be Meyer, Vaughn, and Sanchez here in this battle.
Oh, Meyer's off.
Nope, not Meyer anymore. Oh, that's all the way up the hill. Speaking of elevation changes, that's not the way you want to do that. Oh, man, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm just having a look.
Likely carried too much speed through that corner, I would assume, and just couldn't get on the brakes. I know we've said it. This isn't a missing braking point. This is I see him being run wide again there. You see, I'm guessing this carried way too much speed into that corner, and it just got out from under him.
Yeah, it just looks like he might have just carried too much speed on the corner entry. Just maybe just not slowed down enough, but just maybe just got on the marbles as well, ever so slightly, and it just caused him to lose the rear end. But he's got going again, and looks like he's wasting no time in trying to gain some positions back. But still, looking at this battle as well, with try to find out who that is.
Yeah, this is Vaughn and Sanchez right here for 11th and 12th.
So yeah, these guys have been pretty much together since the start of the race, and Xavier Ciancia is a name that we recognise from the Grand Prix Legends series that runs on a Saturday afternoon and is also broadcast on GSRC. Ciancia is put her on the presser and trying to put her on the presser on Vaughn and trying to make a move as quickly as possible. But it looks like both these guys are maybe running the same sort of pace and also the same similar levels of downforce as well.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say real quick, both heads up to both those guys who missed that car going up the hill there. I know we kind of focus on the car, but those guys both heads up to avoid that and not find themselves in that incident. All right, we're almost a third. Well, not exactly. We're getting close to a third of the way done already. This is a quick race. 33 laps sounds like a lot, and it is. But when they're only like minute 19, minute 20 laps, it goes by super fast here. It's going to go up the hill here. I think this is, yeah. All right, so nice, clean race so far overall. We've seen a couple cars lose it on their own, but other than that incident in turn 11, Ryan, it's been a fairly clean race so far.
Absolutely, it's been a clean race so far, and there's not been any major incidents so far, and everyone's been really racing clean. Maybe hard, but they've been racing each other clean, and still plenty of battles going on at the moment. Especially this one with third place and fourth place, with Gerhard Fritza and Timothy Reed close together, and it looks like Reed might be slightly quicker, but still, it's the same old case around this track, Derek. That you might be close to the car in front, but trying to get by it is nigh impossible, especially in this section of the track where it's pretty much been a tight section.
Yeah, right. I mean, as you said, there's not a lot of obvious passing opportunities here unless a car it really misses a line or something. The only real passing spot is just down here in turn 11, which that's a great camera view there, by the way, of that. You see just how wide it is and how much you want to dig down in there. And you do want to, because it feels like the only obvious spot to do it. But they're going to come up to here. Let's see if we can ride on board here with fifth place and see if we can see some of these elevation changes. Oh, there's that glare, Ryan.
Yeah, that's the glare that we were talking about, especially with the HDR setting on. If you've got it switched on and you catch the sun, especially in this section as well, you're pretty much in a way you're being compromised, because having that sun glare in your eyes is not the nicest feeling in the world. And I've had that happen to me in the past, not around this track, but I've had it happen to me around the Nürburgring Nordschleife, where I forgot to turn HDR off, and in one of the fast sections of the Nordschleife, I ended up getting that sun glare in my eye, and the inevitable happened, and I ended up crashing out.
Yeah, and the one thing about this only being a 33 lap race is more than likely that sun will be there in the same spot for most of this race. These guys can learn to predict it. When you do into longer racing, endurance racing, or any full length IMSA or even NASCAR races, when NASCAR races here, that sun can be problematic because it will obviously move throughout the day. That's what the sun does. But it can hit glare in different spots throughout the day, so you can't even predict it. You just got to kind of be on your toes the whole time. Nice lap there by the Turk. We're going to watch behind him here. Up this hill here. Look at all this, especially right here. This is in my opinion, one of the worst blind spots right there. It's going up through these corners. You can't see over them. Oh, we got a car on pit road. But yeah. All right, so this is Teos. Teos running, or was running down here in that camera. He still is, sorry, running down the Turk in this camera shot here and trying to take the inside line here through these corners and see if he can make a pass.
Yeah, he's getting a lot closer heading up to this the double right hand hairpin now, and or double apex as I like to call it. But yeah, Teo's not really close enough. He keeps getting close, but it just seems to be on corner exit. The Turk just manages to get a better run and a better exit and just peel away ever so slightly, especially through this section right here that we're coming through.
And as you can see on our ticker on the left hand side of the screen, this is probably the closest, or one of the only two close battles we have on track. Going to come down here to turn 11. Teo does close the gap just a little bit, but I think the Turk will strengthen it back out here, coming back to the start finish line. That one is beautiful. Oh, wow, little wiggle there.
Yeah, nicely saved.
Beautiful save, but that will close up this battle. And you have to think, what does that do for a driver? What does that do for Teo being back there when he sees that wiggle? What is the emotion that runs through you when it happens, Ryan?
Yeah, I think Teo might be thinking at this point. He might be thinking to himself that he's starting to get inside the Turk's head, maybe just making him feel rattled a little bit as Teo gets a great run heading down here. He's a little closer than he was before, but not close enough, and I don't think he's going to do anything silly like throw up the inside and run wide. Nope, he decides against it and decides to stay behind. But I think Teo at this point might be fancying his chances of maybe taking the P5 from Michael de Turk.
Right. You know, and that's what happens for Teo. But the driver, the Turk himself, a couple things can happen when you're the driver who wiggles like that. Either you get more focused and hold on. You're going to make the move side by side, and he's going to make the pass out of turn 11. Nice job there by Teo.
Yeah, that was a great move. It was a forceful but great move by Teo, and there was a bit of bumping and rubbing going on in the middle of the corner, but both of them managed to survive, and I think the Turk will be not giving up that position easy. He'll try and stick with Teo at the moment, but I think it was just a matter of time before that move was done, and Teo saw the opportunity, he saw the gap, he threw it up the inside, and a bit of bumping and banging, but both of them they managed to survive in one piece.
Yeah, and you know, the person in the proverbial driver's seat, if you will, is actually Fernandez back there in P7. He's in the back of these camera shots, and what he's looking for right now, he's hoping more bumping and banging happens. He would love to get a 2-for-1 special if these guys do make contact, and he just goes around them and picks up both spots. And Turk is not letting it go. He's seen closing the gap here through that double hairpin. Going to come down here through those S's. And I'm wondering if the Turk's setting himself up another turn 11 pass to match the one that Teo did last time by.
It's a good possibility. Is the Turk's not close enough, and I think he closes right up on the brake as he's going to throw up the inside. Contact!
Contact! Both of them are around. And I can't see Fernandez, but yeah, he's good. And that is just what we were talking about. Fernandez took the opportunity to get both spots. You see, that's Teo back there, and he will go to pit road. So that is probably the end of the day for Teo, unfortunately, after that turn 11 pass attempt.
Yeah, I had a feeling that something like that was going to happen with the Turk and Teo. I think the Turk was maybe just feeling a bit of frustration there, and they decided to throw it up the inside. It was a bit of an optimistic move, and unfortunately it ended up in contact, and both of them have pretty much ruined their own races. Yeah,
unfortunately, what happens here, I think, is the Turk opens the wheel a little too soon. If we can see maybe in a different camera shot of it, or maybe one later, but it looks like he opens the wheel and comes out of that corner too soon, and that he just goes a little bit more straight than I think he meant to. Oh, we got more contact. Oh, and that time the Turk avoids the contact, and who is that? Is that Selwards right there spun around? No, it is Selwards spun around. Wow. So as soon as we finish, we talked about it being a clean race, and all of a sudden, with about the halfway point almost here, the intensity has picked up on track, Ryan.
Yeah, for a while it seemed to pretty much have settled down for a bit, and then all of a sudden it's all started to kick off with that after that incident with the Turk and the Slurry. But they've had more contact up at the hairpin.
Ooh, that was close on multiple levels. I don't know who we get a name on that, but that is wow, that was close.
Yeah, that was the 13 car of Timothy Vaughan.
Looked like when we came around, he was spun in turn 11, but started to move the car and made some other people nervous. That's what happened in that corner. You saw some more smoke, some more locking the tires. I think that was because people were nervous about where they were going and wanted to avoid that incident. All right, well, so far as we are on lap 16, we're going to watch this battle here between Tolonen and the one car of Prix. This is for second and third. This is a close battle. I was going to mention right now, Partnen. That is cars bouncing. Right? Oh, there's two of them, Ryan.
Yeah, two cars off on the exit of the carousel there, and they got to be careful because there's cars coming by. But Yeah, it's all starting to kick off again as we're on the middle of lap 17 at the moment, and maybe people just getting desperate a little bit and just trying silly moves. But at the moment, it's some people just having silly incidents, as I say. But as I look at the replay, it looks like Timothy Vaughan, gets a little bit sideways, gets sideways on the exit of the carousel, and he gets clobbered.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, that's the same car that we just saw having trouble down at the hairpin. So maybe they've burned up those tires when they meant to, or maybe their setup wasn't built for the long run. I'm not sure. Let's take a look here. This is, I think, the move down in a hairpin. We saw the ending of, just looped it around. Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just a product of getting into that corner too hot, right?
Yeah, it looks like it just got in too hot and just lost the rear end, and Timothy Vaughan manages to get going again. Actually, I say that he's in the pits now, so big damage for the 13 car, and he was doing so well at one point as well. He was inside there, the top, what was it, top 5 or top 6?
Oh yeah, it was definitely up there and was making moves. So, I mean, this is that point of the race, though, where if you're someone we've not focused on yet, if you're a Rasmus, if you're a Meyer, if you are a Walker, as we see, by the way, our race leaders put down a new fastest lap of 1:17.953, continuing to set fast laps here. I was going to say that if you're one of the drivers that's towards the back of the field and having a hard day, you never root for carnage per se, but man, it feels good to get some free spots when you're struggling. It can really boost your confidence a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the thing. If you're not on the pace or not as quick, say for example, look at Barry West, for example, in the P16, having a decent race further back in the field, and he's probably thinking to himself, like when these drivers are having issues, that free spots for me or more spots for me, and just slowly clawing his way back up through the field, but having a decent race anyway. But yeah, I'm like you as well. I don't hope for drivers to have any issues, but if it means getting more positions, then sometimes you've just got to hope for that.
Yeah, sometimes you do. One thing we talked about at the beginning of the race here, we did not have a repeat winner yet this season. This is not sure. We do have a spin though. It's going to be Tony Tolello has now spun himself out here and is having a hard time getting going again. You see him off track. Oh, look at that. Tolleman now decided he wants to try to run down the leader, and he has now put down a 1:17.952 to take the fastest lap. So with about 12-13 laps to go, maybe this race isn't over yet, Ryan. Oh, we got more contact here.
Yeah, I was about to say, it looks like they've had another incident as well. Someone else off in the carousel as well. It looks like Pekka Kelhara in 19th place, but he gets going again.
That's a really rough lap for Tolello here. We didn't see it on the screen, but I could hear through some reports. He had a hard time even back through turn 11 to start this lap he's on. So he's having a really hard lap here, as you've seen him spin it around a couple times. All right, well, as we set up maybe having our first repeat winner of the season, that gap now up to 6.5 seconds here over P2s. We're watching some racing across the track. Ooh, man, got it pretty wide there. Did that car there? I thought maybe he was like diving for pit road, but he backed it over at the last second.
Yeah, maybe it could just be the line you take into that corner, but I thought he was heading for pit road as well. As both of them come over the line now, and this time around it's Gernot Fritz puts in the fastest lap of the race as well. So even though he's not challenging for the win as it stands at the moment, still pushing nevertheless, with Timothy Reed not too far behind him.
So let's talk a second, Ryan. This is a 33-lap race. There's now 14 to go. Talk about them. I mean, it is a long race. Like, if you are, open setups, means you can set this car up to maybe get that big lead to start and just try to manage it. You can try to conserve and see if you could run someone on later. Talk a little bit about that. How does the different approaches to a race affect something like this?
Yeah, would this be pretty much being a long race around here on this layout? I think the approach I would use is probably just try and make it to the end of the race and not overdrive or make any silly mistakes. Just try and finish in one piece, because as we've seen so far in this race, with some of the quick guys up at the front have had issues. The likes of De Turk and Slurry, they've had issues, and other people have pretty much just been close to pouncing, or maybe pouncing and picking up a few positions, like we saw with Fernandez, for example. So people just aiming to keep out of trouble, and at the moment it seems to be paying off.
All right, an extra 0.2 of a second was found by your race leader. Now down to a 1:17.7 as he can set fast laps and open that gap here. Look at this battle here. This is really fun to see in these Lotus 79 cars. Of course, these cars are former F1 cars. They raced for 3 seasons in F1. So a lot of fun can be had with these cars. We've seen the major series run these recently. They went around an oval, and we had a blast here on GSRC covering those races. These cars are, of course, part of the weekly series on the iRacing service. So anyone with a B license can come in here and race these at any time.
Absolutely, and also if you're stuck for setups or you need help with this car, there's the Lotus 79 community as well that are always happy to help out. And yeah, if you need help, join their Discord as well. So there's always people willing to help out, especially the quick guys willing to post setups and just help out with advice as well.
Yeah, you know, some of the smaller communities we're watching since turn 11 here is going to close that gap pretty well. Look at that. That's Tolanen and Freach there coming around at 12 up to the start-finish line. These smaller communities in the iRacing service are really fun to see because they're very tight-knit. In a way, the community almost runs itself. I mean, obviously, iRacing still runs the servers, and these are official races and whatnot, but a lot of communities like this, the community almost runs itself. It's really nice to see sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. As we've got 12 laps to go and still be looking at this battle going on at the moment, and again, I don't want to jinx it, but it seems to have this settled down ever so slightly. And yeah, this battle's been pretty much going on for quite a while now, but yeah, still Parton is still up at the front dominating and pretty much putting in a commanding drive at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. If we can take a look back, our other close battle on track now is P7 and P8. That's going to be the Turk and the 10 car battling here with some cars behind them here. I said this is for 7th and 8th on track. Right, the Turk, of course, earlier involved in that incident back at the hairpin over there at 11. Or not the hairpin, but you can see the results of that. Like, that wing is not normal, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely not. That wing, after that contact with Slurry, he got some slight minor rear wing damages. It looks like Sanchez is trying to make a move up the inside into the hairpin. Can he get the move done? It looks like the Turk might get a good run on the exit. He manages to hold it on the outside, and he gets a great drive on the exit.
Yeah, and here we're going to try again at the start-finish line, coming down into turn 1. And this time, Sanchez does get it. I think, yep, he's going to clear it here. And now he's going to be good. So we talked a little bit about front wing earlier, Ryan. Oh man, almost a bump there coming at the top of that hill. What does that back wing do to you? What is that back wing doing to this car for the Turk, more than likely?
With that minor rear wing damage, I think it might just be affecting the rear end grip, especially traction on the exit of some slow speed corners. Trying to get in the power, maybe he might not get a good exit or get on the power as good as he could before with when the car was pretty much normal. But with that slight rear wing damage, I think it might be affecting the rear or the rear end traction and slow speed corners. But at the moment, it doesn't seem to be hindering him too much. But I think he's just being very, very careful at this stage of the race.
And now what it does do is we're going to watch a different battle here. You see the Turk falling back again here. So obviously that's probably a product of that rear end speed. Watch this here. This is turn 11. And yeah, that's going to be a good. He's not going to complete the pass, but it is going to stay clean. Now, what it does do on a mental level for the driver behind is it gives you motivation. You're like, oh, look at that wing. I can make a move here. And it really encourages you probably to push a little harder or kind of lifts your spirits, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And I think the Turk as well. I thought there was going to be a bit of contact there, but thankfully they're still managing to keep going, but De Turk at this stage of the race, I think he might be frustrated as well after that incident. I think when he was having a good battle, and it just unfortunately just went downhill a little bit. But De Turk at the moment, I think he's having to keep an eye on his mirrors, because that rear wing damage, I think it might be affecting his straight line speed as well, possibly.
I see Rasmus here. Rasmus here is riding behind him. That's the green car we're seeing on screen, and is trying to find that passing point, because if it is really affecting the top end speed or the straightaway speed of the Turk, the last thing you want to do is get stuck behind this car on a long straight, because it just feels like it's killing you. And the drivers are just, oh man, look at how tight this keeps getting. They're going to come down here, and he's going to make the move. This time, De Turk goes wide, and the pass is complete as you see side by side ahead of him out of that into 12 and up to start finish line. They're going to work that out. Oh, no, maybe not. Ooh, squeezed almost into the wall there. That's going to be... is that Sanchez and Old, I think, if I recall.
Yeah, it's Gwendell and Old and Xavier Sanchez, and those two are having a great ding-dong battle as Sanchez gets a bit sideways. I know, almost contact, and they almost went 3 wide. Oh, this is a fantastic battle.
I thought they were going to be 3 wide. That doesn't work at Sonoma. You can't do that, guys. But you know what? This is helping. This is benefiting De Turk. Even with that loss of that straightaway speed, if these guys want to battle side by side and not get the optimal lines, he'll stay in the battle. This is a beautiful battle here. This is going to be for 7th through 10th. You're seeing on screen here. Man, that 3 wide, I was nervous. I was like, oh, that's not going to work. And luckily they backed out of it. Your leader's still finding pace. I mean, we're 20 plus laps into this race, and he's got it down to a 1:17.6. Anything can happen in racing, but it appears right now like the race winner, you know, is writing his own destiny right now.
Pretty much as they come into the hairpin now, and it looks like we've still got moves going on and battles going on as well, and the Turk, even with that damage, is still managing to slightly hang on to this battle, but just as you see in the background there, he's just starting to fall back ever so slightly.
Yep, he definitely is, and you see him trying to go side by side up this hill again. They're going to back out of it. Now, in my opinion, the hardest spot, well, the Turk obviously, but of the 3 guys ahead of him, the hardest spot is obviously the gentleman in the back, which is Rasmus. And the reason for that, though, is a lot of times with his view of this race right now, he only sees the car in front of him. And so if something happens to the other drivers, like, you may not see it happen in time to react to it. But watch the Turk here, still going to try to stay in this race. And he's happy to see all this side-by-side racing. Going to come up here to the right-hander. And that, of course, is the double hairpin. And much credit to De Turk here, but even with that damage, he is doing his best to stay in this battle. Going to close up a little here into turn 11. Let's see what happens. Let's ride along here. Ooh, I'm not sure which one of them that was. I believe that was Rasmus that was smoking those tires there coming into that corner.
Yeah, it seemed to be getting on the power. He just didn't have the traction getting on the power, and they got a little bit sideways there and just lost a little bit of drive. But I have to agree, credit to De Turk as well. He's managing to hold on to this battle even with that damage. And in front of these guys, Gwendell and Old is managing to, not Gwendell and Old, sorry, Xavier Sanchez is pretty much just checked out.
Yeah, I was going to mention the same thing. Sanchez is happy about this battle. He's about 1.5 to 2 seconds ahead on track here, depending upon the portion of the track we're in. So he's happy to see them battle as he is pulling away. All right, we're down to 6 laps to go, and they're still battling hard. This is the battle for 8th, 9th, and 10th on track. This is a great run here. See that camera shot here, getting ready for turn 11 again. Oh, again, he smokes him. He is trying to outbrake that corner. That is Rasmus trying to outbrake Old there every time. What are the dangers of that, Ryan?
Yeah, the danger possibly of if he keeps doing that, lock up his tyres. He keeps trying to go for that move. He might get distracted if he looks behind him, looking at the Turk, and he might end up carrying too much speed into the hairpin, and maybe having an incident. As I say that, he's actually trying to go up the inside here and try and get the move done as he gets sideways and spins.
Oh no, that will spin him around. Of course, we'll give up a few spots here. Gets it collected and then back on track. So no damage to that car, very likely, or very minimal maybe. Be curious to see if I'm sure he spun alone, but in that traffic, it can be hard to tell what exactly caused it or what made him nervous. We'll see if we can find a replay of it real quick. But now the Turk has picked up a spot here and is now going to try to run down Old and see what he can do with it. That's going to put Rasmus down to 11th currently on track. Here's our GSRC replay, Ryan.
Yeah, he gets a run, he gets a move up the inside, he's fully alongside, and I think he might have just clipped that inside curve and it's unsettled the car, and unfortunately tried to get on the power when he got sideways, and unfortunately he just spun it around and lost it, but manages to keep going, and he's still in 11th place, so he's not lost too many positions, but I think he might be kicking himself for that mistake.
Yeah, the only thing bruised there, I think, is the ego after making what he must feel is a silly mistake, while racing out hard for that position. All right, well, as we've been watching throughout this race, we're going to see another battle, but not into turn 11 at least. That's going to be, they're going to say into right orders, but that is another race into turn 11s. They're going to come around 12 up to the start-finish line. And again, guys, your race leader, this is Tolanen and Prix here. This is second and third battling here with about 4 to go. Your race leader has checked out. He set another fastest lap. Having an amazing day. Is more than likely going to be our first repeat winner of the season. So Ryan, when this happens and you're Prix here in third, what's your new goal?
I think if I was Prix in third place, I think I'd maybe just he's carries so much speed into the carousel there. I think if I was Prix, I would probably just think about what I'm going to do if I get a run. Do I wait until the last lap, or maybe the last couple of laps to try and make a move, or do I just hang back for the moment and see if Tolanen makes a mistake?
I mean, you might as well be a little bit more aggressive than you normally would, because even if you burn up a tire, by the way, the Turk is spun off the track and in front of another driver. I think they're going to be okay back there. I saw that in the background. Got it looped around and back on track, but definitely lost it there. And in a different way, but near the same location, we saw Rasmus do it, but on the other side of the track, I think. I'm going to see a lap car pull out of the way there. Nice, classy move. What I was going to say, though, is when you have Prix here, you might as well just be aggressive with 3 to go at the line here as we just pass by, because even if you burn up your stuff, you're not going to catch the leader regardless. You might as well get every spot you can at this point. That would be my thinking and motivation at this point.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think if you're Prix, you've just got to go for it and try and basically push as much as possible and try and make Tolanen try and make a mistake. But at the moment, it seems to be Tolanen's doing a good job in second. He's keeping his composure. He's not overdriving. He's not pushing too much. He's not overrunning into the corner. He's just hitting his marks.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of space behind him, so nothing. These guys could side-by-side race if they can get to each other. It's about, 7-8 seconds back to the driver behind them, and they're still losing time on the leader, even in their single-file racing here. Hey, guys, your race leader today, Partnan, has just been on fire. This never looked back, took the pole, and has dominated. We see the into turn 11 here, a couple different lines, and Prix made up some time there.
Yeah, absolutely. He made that so much time under the brakes and got a lot closer on the exit as well. So maybe just has more confidence, or maybe it could just be a setup thing. But as I've got another lap car in front of them, it pulls out the way, and good heads up driving there to let both of them go. And Prix at the moment, he's getting he's close enough. It's just a matter of trying to get really close to try and make a move, heading down to that double right hander, or even into the last corner or into the hairpin. But at the moment he's running out of time to try and make a move.
He really is. I mean, that last time through 11, you saw that Tolonen dove to the inside of the 11 really quickly. Prix waited to a very late apex, it looked like. So we'll see how that plays out here. They're going to come down through here. Still single file. We're going to get we're going to be out of time here soon to make that move if he wants to do it. All right, one person's happy about how little time there left there is your race leader. This is that number 2 Marlboro machine right here, coming through turn 11 for the penultimate time. And you see this how far back Tolonen and Prix are. They're just now going through 11. All right, white flag in the air, Ryan. This is the race for second and third. There's your race leader, well ahead, almost 6.5 seconds at this point. And really, he's just dominated today.
Yeah, pretty much has. He's just pulled away, built up a gap, and just pretty much from then on, it's just about maintaining the gap and just maintaining that pace. But yeah, he's pretty much not been under any pressure for pretty much the whole race. But back in second and third place, Prix is still getting close to. He keeps getting close to Tolonen, but he just can't get the move done. And he's not going to be close enough to make a move into this double right-hander here. And I think his only opportunity now is to try and get a good exit on the exit of fear and try and get a run in the slipstream through this twisty section here. But I don't think he's going to be close enough, and I think Tolenen's just going to do enough to hold on.
Yeah, unless Prix really gets really aggressive with the braking line here into 11, I think we're going to be good. There's your leader. A little bit of lap traffic, not going to concern him. For the first time this season, the Lotus 79 Series will have a multiple winner, and it is that number 2 car. Congratulations to him. Let's watch second and third here as they're going to come out. And in fact, nope, no change there. Your leader even set a new fastest lap on the last lap of the race. We're going to see our drivers coming through here and getting across the start-finish line as your leader's going to take his celebratory victory lap here. Actually, no. Fernandez in the last lap is going to claim the fastest lap of the race. How crazy is it, Ryan, that we're seeing fastest laps on the last lap of the race?
Yeah, it seems to be a thing with some drivers as well. Like they'll just push on that if they've got nothing to lose, they'll just push like crazy on the last lap, and they seem to do their personal best. But further back in the pack, we've got this battle for 13th going on between Joe Walker and Luca Bracali, and Walker's holding the position after starting 21st, so it's been a good drive by him as they come onto the exit of this twisty section right now. And Bracali, I don't think is going to be close enough unless he throws it on the outside or on the inside and tries to make a move. As
he's looking.
Oh, he's having a look up the inside. Can he hold it? Can he hold it on the brakes? Yes, he can. Fantastic.
Wow, look at that. Not even an aggressive move. It's almost as if maybe Walker had some kind of handling problem because he did not even fight that spot. But that's a last second pass for Bracali as this race is over. And you see Walker losing the car there after the race. All right. Well, that was an exciting and fast-paced 33 laps. Ryan, let's go ahead and go to break, and then when we come back, we'll do our interviews with our winners. Hold on, I think they're going to take the jump here. Celebratory. Let's watch them do so for a second, if you don't mind. There's a lot of tracks with a tradition like this, Ryan.
Yep, absolutely. It seems to be another track with this tradition as well. There's a certain track in Australia called Mount Panorama, where everyone just keeps it flat out and takes a jump. As it looks like we've got a jump going on here, and well, pretty much a roll.
That was a nice one. He got a full flip out of that, I think, before he towed back over to pit road. All right. Well, there's some celebratory jumps. Let's go ahead and go to break, and when we come back, we'll do driver interviews with your top 3.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
All right, we are back here in the vineyards of the virtual Sonoma Raceway after an exciting 33 laps here in the Lotus 79 race. Let's go and take a look at your race results. In first place, your leader all day long was Paul Partnan. Get Jukka Tolonen in second, Gunnar Fritsch in third, Timothy Reed in fourth, Sergio Fernandez, someone we saw on screen here, in fifth place. Paul Williams will finish sixth. Javier Sanchez will finish seventh. Gwendolyn Old in 8th, Shane Selwertz in 9th, and then Mike Rasmus will round out your top 10.
Finishing in 11th was Michael de Turk, with 12th going to Pep Meyer. Luca Ricciardi taking that move, taking 13th after that fantastic move into the last corner. 14th was John Walker with the first of the cars, one lap down. Barry West in 15th, 16th is German Suarez. 17th is Tony Tilas, 18th is Keith Herner, 19th is Pekka Kalahara, and the first of the retirements in 20th was Timothy Vaughan.
All right, and then you have Pat Labros, Theo Charlet with that incident back in the hairpin, and then Ove Tranegard in 23rd to round out your field. All right, well, that's a look at your race results. It is time to do some driver interviews. Let's go and start with the winner of this race. He is the driver of the 2 car, that Marlboro car, Paul Partnan. Congratulations on your win.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so tell us how you felt about this race. Obviously, it looks like you must have practiced and had a great setup because you just dominated all day.
Yeah, I practiced quite a lot, and yes, I had a very good setup. Very big thank you to Jukka. We made that setup together, and yeah, I think we nailed it. It had very good cornering speeds and top speeds, so it went very well. So thanks for Jukka for setup help.
Well, after watching these last 33 laps, I would say you nailed that setup as well. What's been your history with this track? Is this a track you enjoy? Was this track you really had to work at, or does this track come natural to you?
Well, this is first time here. I have never ever even heard of this kind of track before this week, so it was completely new to me, but I liked it in the end. I have to admit it was not my favorite tracks ever, but of course when you win with such a huge margin, so it feels great, and of course I like this race a lot.
There you go. Well, we talked a little bit in the broadcast about the elevation changes up through the first corners and the glare. How did those affect you as a driver? Was it the glare or the elevation changes? Which affected you more?
The elevation changes for this race. I think this race didn't have so bad sun glare than the previous races I raced it this week here. So, but this track has very tricky hills. You can easily lose your car, so you always have to watch out for those.
Go. Awesome. Well, congrats on the win today with that Marlboro machine. Is there anyone you want to say hello to? Thank you, friends, family, pets, anyone?
Yeah, thanks for Jukka for setup. As always, thank you for Eija for watching the race and celebrating with the victory with me. And thanks for my cat, Nipsu. Very good job keeping quiet. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, he is the winner of the race. That is the driver of the number 2 Marlboro machine. Congrats on your win today. All right, Ryan, let's go ahead and I think you have an interview ready, right?
I have indeed. I've got the second place man, Jukka Tolonen, along with me now. And Jukka, you and Gernot put on one heck of a battle for second place in the closing stages. How was that race from your point of view?
Yeah, well, Pauli had just so awesome speed. I didn't have a chance today against Pauli, as I wasn't feeling very confident here. I just bought the track this week, and I had just like hour or little more practice. So very little practice this weekend, new track. So I was still kind of learning the track during the race. So compared to that, it was very good race. And as Pauli said, we had a very good setup. So that helped a lot. So Pauli did also this week good work with improving my kind of starting point with the setup. So yeah, it was really good. And yeah, Gerhard is well, he's a legend, and you can't make any mistakes if you want to keep him behind. He has always good straight line speed. So I was scared all the time that he would get a chance after the back straight to the last corner, but yeah, I didn't really have to cover the inside line before the last lap, so I managed to keep a little distance. So yeah, it was a great race, challenging but great.
And what do you think of this track? Have you got much experience around this track and this layout, or is it just was this the first? We spoke to Paulie and he said it was the first time he's ever raced around here. But how about you?
Yeah, it was, well, the first race I did here was the pre-broadcast race a couple of hours ago. So yeah, definitely I was not confident at all. So I was a little bit hesitating with the elevation changes and so on. So yeah. It feels a bit like Mosport in some sense. It has a couple of similar corners and lots of elevation changes. So in that sense, it felt a little bit familiar, but yeah.
And heading into Imola next week, are you planning to race? And if so, have you got much experience around that track, or is it just again another track for you to learn?
Well, I have been racing there before, but I'm afraid I won't be there next week. I will be on vacation probably and not home, so let's see. Probably I will be back for Laguna Seca week after that, but yeah, let's see.
And then lastly, before we let you go, Jukka, anyone that you want to give a shout out to or thank you to? Any sponsors?
Well, Pauli, of course, and well, I want to say congrats to my friend Timo and their team, and they won in a Nürburgring 24-hour endurance race. I don't know which split it was, but congrats, guys. And also hello to our friend group that we had a party this weekend at Kalajoki. So yeah, hello E38 guys. Yeah, thanks. Bye.
As that was second place finisher Jukka Tolonen joining us, and I believe up next, Derek, you have got Gerhard Fritzel with you.
Yeah, Gerhard, I guess I'm going to start with the obvious question. Usually we start by asking how was the race, but I'm going to ask you this question. First and second place, they've never raced on this track before, so I'm going to start by asking you this. Was this a new track for you, or had you raced here before?
Derek, no, it's not a new track for me. I've been in the series so long, so I've been racing this track several times. Actually, it's a track that I really like because it's a technical, challenging track with lots of elevation changes. The only downside is that racing is a little bit tough because overtaking is not easy here.
Yeah, there's only a couple spots to do it. Well, then let's back up and ask. So for the last few laps of the race, we saw you in a pretty tight battle going in for second. Did you have what were your plans there? Were you just hoping he was going to make a mistake? Were you trying to outbreak him in 11? What were you looking for there?
I guess all of that. I was pushing like crazy because I really had to keep the pressure up. On the other hand, Jukka is a really good driver under pressure, so he barely makes any mistakes. So yeah, I really had to try to make him look in the mirrors as much as possible, and yeah, maybe either hope for a mistake or go for a late break in the last corner.
All right. Well, as we've said, of course, this is a track with a lot of elevation change and a couple of blind corners. What, in your mind, is the hardest part of this track?
I think the The hardest corner probably is the carousel. I think it's called like that. So that's downhill left-hander, because there's some nasty bumps in there, and if you go on the throttle too soon, the rear steps out, and it's quite dangerous there. So I guess that's a major issue. And another difficult corner was just before that, with a low sun, the blinding lights were making it really hard to hit the corner well.
Yeah, we took a lot of look at that as well during the broadcast. You could see some of that. Well, congrats on P3 today. It was a really well fought race and a battle there. Anyone you want to say hello to, thank you to, friends, family, pets, anyone like that?
No, as usual, I want to thank the other guys in this series. Competition is really tough. The last couple of seasons, want to say congrats to Pauli for a quite dominant win, and also to Yuka for great defensive battle. Good P2. So see you guys.
There you go. All right. Well, there he is. That is P3. And congrats to all these guys. It's a great competition this series, Ryan. Really fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. There wasn't a battle going on for the win, but the battle for second and third place was great to watch, and also further back in the pack, round about the midfield as well. And a great racing throughout, and it's just proof that that's why this series is probably one of the best to call, to race in, and just to watch in general.
Indeed it is. All right, well, speaking of thanks, let's go and do some thanks of our own. First off, I want to go ahead and say thank you to the companies who provide the software and hardware for today's races and today's broadcast. You can see those companies mentioned here on your screen. You can go and grab all those. Also, an additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music to use during the broadcast. You can check out her Bandcamp for more awesome work and to see more there. I want to thank the team today, Ryan, Zach, and Dougie. Ryan, it was great working with you for the first time. All right, well, you can find more about GSRC over at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social medias, which are listed here on the screen. Also, please check out our merchandise, which you can find over at gsrc.storeenvy.com. And we do keep a link for that in the description. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll know when every race goes live here on GSRC. Next up for the Lotuses, as Ryan said during the interviews, is Imola. That will happen next Sunday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Next up here on broadcast for GSRC in a couple hours is the Sunday Drivers Porsche Cup at 5 p.m. Eastern, myself and Joe Peak on the call. We also have upcoming races for the other series listed on your screen, so check them out and mark them on your calendar so that you don't miss a minute of exciting action. All right, with that said, Ryan, it was great working with you the first time. Thank you for all your help today.
Yep, you too, and it's been a pleasure to step in and call this race alongside you, and yeah, it's a fantastic race to call yet again.
All right, well, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.